Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Smackdown review. And this is going to be a review of the June 18th edition of Smackdown, which was from this past Tuesday. And it was, of course, Smackdown's go-home show for Stomping Grounds, which is happening tomorrow. Which, do you all give a shit about this pay-per-view tomorrow? I know I sure ain't, because this pay-per-view should be called Rematch Grounds. That's what it should be called, because there are 4 matches on the card that are rematches that we have seen. There's only 2 matches on this card that I'm looking forward to. And that is Samoa Joe versus Ricochet for the United States Championship, and Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus Heavy Machinery. Those are the only 2 matches that I'm looking forward to. And yet, Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus Heavy Machinery is going to be for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. So there you go. Those are the only 2 matches that I'm looking forward to on the Stomping Grounds card for tomorrow. The rest, I don't give a shit. So let's get on with the SmackDown review. This SmackDown was from the Citizens Business Banks Arena in Ontario. It's in California. And this SmackDown, this show was garbage. This show was shit, in my opinion. But let's get on with the SmackDown review. So SmackDown opened up on Tuesday with the New Day coming out. So New Day, Xavier, Kofi, and Big E, they end up coming out. Kofi ends up welcoming the crowd to SmackDown. Xavier says everyone is well aware that at Stomping Grounds, which is happening, of course, tomorrow, we will see Kofi go up against Dolph Ziggler in a steel cage. But that's only if Dolph makes it through him tonight. Because it was Dolph Ziggler versus Xavier Woods. They made the match they announced the match on social media. So Big E says he's deemed the second hour of SmackDown the Freaky Hour. Which then he gets interrupted by Dolph. It should have been me, Ziggler. So Dolph ended up coming out. He ends up saying, typical New Day, distracting everyone with smoke and mirrors, to avoid what we all know from Super Showdown. And he says, which is to say, Kofi doesn't deserve to be champion. He says, without New Day, Kofi would be nothing. And on Sunday, they won't have his back. And he won't be able to stand on his own. Dolph ends up saying, next time Kofi goes back to Ghana, it's not going to be a celebration, but it's going to be an apology tour. So he ends up saying at Stomping Grounds, it's going to be Dolph grinding him into the cage. Face, hair, and teeth, kicking ass and taking names. So Kofi ends up saying, he's good with being in the cage, because whether he pins Dolph or climbs the cage, or maybe just hits him so hard with the Trouble in Paradise that he can just walk out the door. He says, regardless of how it happens, he will win at Stomping Grounds. And he says, Xavier has been itching to pop Ziggler in the mouth again. Dolph says he wants Kofi to pay close attention to what's going to happen to his buddy. And he says, if it wasn't for them, he'd be champion right now. The whole, it should have been me, as what Dolph has been saying. And he says, after tonight, Xavier will never be able to help him again. And he says then on Sunday, when Kofi's trapped in a steel cage with him, he'll no longer be WWE Champion because it should have been him. There you go. That was the opening to SmackDown. This was terrible. God awful. In every sense. So then we had Dolph Ziggler versus Xavier Woods. This match itself, it was okay. Not great. Not perfect by any means. But we had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They ended up coming down. They ended up taking down Big E and Kofi. The referee saw it. The referee called for them to leave, ringside. And then you had Xavier go to the top. He jumped off the top, took out Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And at the end of the match, you had Xavier Woods. He was tied to the ropes. And Dolph ended up winning the match. Ended up hitting a super kick to Xavier. Pin. Dolph ended up winning the match. But overall, it was an okay match. And then we saw the B team. Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, and Shelton Benjamin. They were discussing the potential of playing the guest referee for Corbin's match against Seth Rollins tomorrow at Stomping Grounds. Because Baron Corbin supposedly, I don't know how, he has, an office out of the blue. And Matt Hardy ends up coming out of Corbin's office. And he says, "Senor Benjamin, you may enter." So Shelton ends up correcting Matt Hardy, and he ends up going into Corbin's office. So that was that. Then we had a moment of bliss, a moment of piss. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross came out. Alexa ends up demanding that her coffee should be bought out. And her guest, Bayley, ends up coming out. She ends up coming out with Alexa's coffee. She's drinking it. Alexa ends up calling Bayley selfish. And Bayley says she's never said anything bad about Nikki Cross. And she ends up getting cut off as Alexa, talks about Bayley for stealing her coffee and, having no hope for Nikki Cross. So Bayley ends up telling Nikki that Alexa is just only using her. And Alexa ends up denying that. So Bayley says that she's had enough. And if Alexa has a problem, she needs to say it to her face. So Alexa says she saw right through Bayley from the start when they were down in NXT. She ends up saying that when she was down in NXT, all the other women made her feel like she didn't belong there. And that the one woman that she turned to was Bayley. And she says, but even Bayley made her feel worthless. Alexa ends up saying that the only person that had the time of day for her was Charlotte. And she ends up saying Bayley ends up coming out with her Bayley buddies, and she's saying that she dressed like she works at Forever 21. And Alexa says Bayley is not a hugger. She's a liar. So Bayley ends up accusing Alexa of making things up and doing the same thing to Nikki Cross, like what Alexa did with Nia Jax and also Mickie James. She says the truth is, Alexa's no goddess. She's just an entitled little princess that doesn't deserve a damn thing. So Alexa says she's not entitled. She's just better than she is and always has been. She says she has a natural gift, but she doesn't imitate her. She doesn't imitate her heroes or wait for autographs. And so Bayley accuses Alexa of latching onto people one after the other, while she did everything herself. So Alexa ends up calling Bayley a placeholder that peaked in NXT, and the one person that she found so undeserving is the one person living out the career she always wanted. So Bayley ended up attacking Alexa. They ended up brawling. Nikki Cross ends up getting in and pulling Bayley off of Alexa. They both get into, a shouting match with Bayley ends up getting in a shout match with Nikki Cross. They're both, going back and forth. And then it gave Alexa the chance to blindside Bayley. She ended up hitting Bayley with a forearm. And basically that's how the segment ended. But I didn't give a shit about this segment. I really didn't. This whole segment was cringe, garbage. Moving on. We had Zelina Vega backstage. And Apollo Crews approaches her. Apollo says to Zelina that he's looking for Andrade and wants her to tell him that he's waiting, that Apollo is waiting. So Zelina, in response, Andrade blindsides Apollo, leaves him lying, ends up throwing him into some, road cases. So Apollo is there lying down. Chad Gable comes, looks on, starts taking notes on his pad. And that's what happened. Then we had Heavy Machinery, Ostosovic, Tucker Knight versus Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, the B team. This was nothing but a squash match. This was a squash match that maybe lasted for maybe 4 minutes tops. Heavy Machinery got the win. Otis ended up doing the Caterpillar, leading into the Compactor. So Heavy Machinery won. Compactor on Bo Dallas to score the win. So Heavy Machinery won. It was a squash match. After the match, Seth Rollins ended up hitting the ring. He ended up coming out with the steel chair in his hand. And he was hitting the chair at Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. He was just hammering the both of them with chair shots. So, Seth Rollins is still hitting chair shots to superstars who want to get involved and be the guest referee in him and Baron Corbin's match at Stomping Grounds. So, there you go. That was what happened after the match. Well, no, like I said, Heavy Machinery versus the B team, squash match. Then we saw a limo was outside. And out came, out of the limo was Shane McMahon. So he was making his way into the arena. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they were complaining to Shane about how Seth Rollins is running around with chairs and that they're worried for their own safety. So Shane ends up suggesting that they take safety into their own hands. So Shane books both Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in a 2 out of 3 falls match against Seth Rollins and Kofi Kingston, which happened later on in the night. It was the main event. So we have that match later on in the show. Then we get another Aleister Black promo. You end up cutting another promo. When is WWE gonna make Aleister Black get back in the ring again? I mean, how many months has he been cutting these promos? What is this now, like 2 months? That they're making Aleister Black just cut promos just like that? Get this guy back in the ring. Because this is not making me give a shit about Aleister Black anymore. Please, come on. Get this guy back in the ring. He's very talented. He's great in the ring. Come on now. So Aleister Black, he ended up cutting a promo. He ended up saying that he hears our whispers. He knows what we're thinking. He says, but this isn't a whoa. This isn't a woe is me story. No, it's a whoa. My opponent's story. And he says, because someone will come knocking and pick a fight. And now he'll change the essence of that man. So that was the promo that Aleister Black cut. But like I said, please get him back in the ring. How much longer can he keep cutting these promos? Come on now. So then we had Shane McMahon. He came out. He came out with Elias, poor Elias, and Drew McIntyre. Shane says on Raw, he and Roman had an incident, but he's not here to talk about that. And shockingly, this SmackDown did not feature Roman. I'm shocked. A SmackDown without Roman? Gotta clap for that. So he ends up saying he's not here to talk about what happened on Raw with Roman. And he says the spotlight is, as it should be, on Drew McIntyre. The man that's going to kick ass and take names at Stomping Grounds as he defeats Roman in the ring. So McIntyre gets on the mic. He ends up saying he prays Roman is listening because he's doing Roman a favor. He says Shane wanted him to end Roman's career, but he's better than that. And on Sunday, he doesn't want Roman to have any excuses. So McIntyre ends up getting interrupted by The Miz. The Miz came out because, of course, wild card rule. And Miz says he needs everyone to watch this video. And it was a recap of what happened on Raw when Roman attacked Shane, in Shane's VIP lounge where he put Drew McIntyre through the table. Shane ended up running out there. Roman went after him. Roman gave Roman gave Shane a Superman punch and laid Shane out with a spear. That's what they played. That was just a recap. And after the clip was finished, Shane was like, oh, do you think that's funny? Oh, you all think that's funny? Miz says no. He's right. It's not funny. Or at least not as funny as this. And so they play the same clip again with Roman Superman punching Shane and spearing Shane. It was it was in slow motion. And also they show where Shane was running away from Roman. That was in slow motion. And Shane ended up saying after the clip was over, Shane says, oh, if anybody plays another clip, anybody who runs any more footage will be fired, will not have a job. So Miz ends up calling Shane out on his daddy issues, and he says that he's going to do a very special Miz TV after Roman beats McIntyre. And so Shane ends up saying that he gets it, and that Miz came from dirt, came from a potato, which he ends up referring to, which Shane ends up referring to Miz's dad. So Miz says that when Shane came back, he made SmackDown the land of opportunity. And he says, but now all of both shows, both Raw and SmackDown, are about him. And that he's sick of it. And he says Shane is his responsibility. He's the one who sent him down this ego trip, and he'll be the one to end it. And Shane says he didn't give him anything, and that he couldn't get the job done. So he had to get the job done himself. So Shane ends up booking a tag team match with Miz and his mystery partner versus Drew McIntyre and Elias. But the Miz has to choose the Miz had to choose his partner in the next 10 seconds. So as Shane was counting down, R-Truth ends up coming. And R-Truth is there, and Miz and R-Truth are tag teaming, and we get an awesome Truth reunion for one night only. But then Shane ends up going on to make it a two out of three tag team elimination match. So we had that. And I want to go back to saying, when the Miz said, Shane came back, he made SmackDown the land of opportunity, and he's on both shows now, and that he's sick of it. Well, we're sick of it also. We're sick of seeing Shane on Raw and SmackDown every single week. He takes up maybe like 15, 20 minutes of both shows. It's absolutely ridiculous. You have a bunch of superstars in the locker room, pretty much not doing anything in catering. Pretty much some of them are in catering. So they're basically sitting back there, and you have Shane come out every single week, cut a 15, 20-minute segment. It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. So then we saw AOP. Yes, AOP was on SmackDown. They were there. Hell, I even forgotten that they were still with WWE contracts because they haven't been featured in a while because I think it was Razor or Again, one of them had an injury. So we saw the Authors of Pain there, AOP. And then the Iconics come. They were backstage. The Iconics then start walking down the hall. And holy shit, what was this that we saw on Tuesday? We saw Paige and Asuka and Kairi Sane. Holy shit. How many months have we not seen these three women? Wow, they're back, folks. They're back. And you all probably forgot that they haven't appeared on SmackDown in that long while. So Paige ends up saying to the Iconics that Kairi and Asuka, they want a shot at the Women's Tag Team Championships. And so Peyton and Billy, they say, oh, we have a busy schedule. And Paige says she asked for and received a match in Tokyo for them. So Paige ends up telling the Iconics that if Asuka and Kairi beat them, Asuka and Kairi will receive a women's tag team title match. And they said, oh, if they win the women's tag team titles, it will be iconic. To which Peyton and Billy walk away. So, man, how many months have we not seen Asuka, Kairi, and Paige? Then we had the 2 out of 3 tag team elimination match. Elias and Drew McIntyre versus Miz and R-Truth. Well, Elias ended up getting eliminated by R-Truth. Elias eliminated R-Truth with the running knee for the first fall. And so after when Elias ended up eliminating R-Truth, here come the Jobber Superstars to get the Jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 title, in which Shelton Benjamin ends up taking it from the timekeeper area. And all of them are just running around the ring. They're chasing Shelton Benjamin. The referee ends up telling Shelton that he can't just take the title, but he has to pin Truth for it. So R-Truth ends up coming. He ends up taking the title and running off while the jobbers end up chasing him. Play the Benny Hill theme to that. But yeah, it looks like the 24/7 Jobber Ninja Turtle title is doing really well on WWE social media, from what I've seen. On their YouTube channel, the views, whenever a 24/7 title is featured, the views are up. So I guess it's working on social media, which I think, in my opinion, should stay that way. It works well on social media. When it's on TV, it's just a mess. It's just fucking laughable. But yeah, and then we had Elias and Drew McIntyre win the last fall. Drew McIntyre ended up pinning the Claymore to the Miz. Claymore kick to the Miz. So Elias and Drew McIntyre win it. After the match, Shane ended up holding up the Miz for McIntyre to deliver another Claymore. Then we saw McIntyre end up hitting a third Claymore kick to the Miz. So that was that. Then we had Amber Moon. She was walking backstage. She was looking for Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. And she ends up saying, Carmella ends up coming. She says to Amber, "Oh, did you see R-Truth anywhere?" Which Amber says, says, "No, I haven't seen him." So Carmella just ends up going off looking for Truth. And so Amber ends up seeing Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. They're eating donuts and joking about it. And you know that they have their own little YouTube show, both Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, here on YouTube, called The Mandy's Donuts, which is pretty cool. I check out their videos every week with the with the donuts. For some reason, I find them really enjoyable. So Amber ends up running both of them down, and they say they were just trying to give her a healthier way to keep occupied. And, by all means, by keep playing video games and rotting her brain. And so Amber had enough of that, and she knocks the tray of donuts out of both Sonya and Mandy's hands. They end up brawling. Referees end up coming down to separate them. So we're going to get a feud with Amber Moon, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville. Wow, that should be interesting. I'm being sarcastic. So then we saw R-Truth. He was walking through the parking lot. SUV comes. And he was calling for Carmella. And he runs into one of the referees who he thinks is a Uber driver, who R-Truth thinks is an Uber driver. And we see Carmella ends up coming up. And R-Truth is like, "Oh, you shrunk." And it was revealed to be Drake Maverick. Drake Maverick was dressed up as Carmella. And so Truth ends up shoving Maverick away. But Maverick ends up catching him. Maverick rolls up R-Truth. So Drake Maverick becomes the 24/7 champion with the Jobber Ninja Turtle title. So, but Maverick didn't hold it that long because Drake Maverick got married, and it was held. It was on WWE's YouTube page. So Drake Maverick ended up getting married, and at the end of the video, a referee shows up, and then we have R-Truth roll up Drake Maverick at his wedding, and so R-Truth ended up pinning Drake Maverick. And R-Truth now has reclaimed the Jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 championship. So the championship went back to R-Truth. And you could see it. It's on WWE's YouTube page. So that's what happened. And then we had the main event, which was the 2 out of 3 falls match between Kofi Kingston, Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn was taken out in like a minute or 2 seconds at best, where Kofi ended up hitting the Trouble in Paradise on Sami Zayn. So Seth Rollins and Kofi Kingston end up scoring the first fall after that. And do you really think that they were going to make Kofi and Seth lose this match? So Kofi and Seth won the match. Seth Rollins ended up hitting a curb stomp to Kevin Owens. So there you go. Kofi and Seth win the match. And that's how SmackDown ended. There you go. Garbage edition of SmackDown this past Tuesday. So that was SmackDown, folks. So anyways, that's it for my review of this past Tuesday's SmackDown. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. And definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And until the next video, which will be the Stomping Grounds review, which, like I said, not looking forward to this pay-per-view tomorrow because it's 4 matches that are rematches that we've seen before, and only 2 matches that I'm looking forward to. And plus, the arena for Stomping Grounds did not sell out. The ticket sales have been shitty for this pay-per-view tomorrow. They're gonna watch. They tarped off, like I said, like I read about this. They tarped off pretty much maybe about, let's say, 70% of the arena. Maybe even more than that. Maybe 90%. They're all going to be showing, they're all going to be moving the people who bought tickets to this to the hard cam side. And the whole other part of the arena is going to be tarped off. Yeah. The ticket sales for this pay-per-view have been fucking shit. And that's how you can tell. Even WWE said that Stomping Grounds is going to be possibly a failure. And just by that, by the ticket sales and the card with 4 rematches on it, this pay-per-view was already a failure. Tell you, calling it right now. This is going to be a garbage fucking show tomorrow. I mean, do we really need this pay-per-view? Do we? After coming off 2 weeks ago with the last pay-per-view, which was in Saudi, which was the Super Showdown. So anyways, that's it for this video. Stay tuned for a Stomping Grounds review tomorrow. And until that video, I'll see you all later. Bye.